Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome to the Tech Only live stream. We have some people streaming in. I have some pre-questions on the page itself if you want to enter some questions in the interface itself. And I have just a couple things that I want to go over today, and I don't have anything in particular to cover, so we'll just kind of go through some of the questions. But as you can see, this is irony, and I got that texted to me this morning. I thought I'd just share because I think it's funny. It made me laugh. But let's take a look at let's see. Some of the things that I want to cover are kind of ERC20 related. They are Ethereum related. Everybody is just so fed up with the, hold on, I'm gonna raise my desk. Everybody's kind of fed up with the price of Ethereum network fees. And there's no quick fix except for going with a different network. But one of the things that you can do, and this is for people that, these are just some ideas, some people that have multiple coins on an exchange, one thing to think about is you could keep it on that exchange until your price is set when you want to sell. And you could sell it into a coin that is much less expensive to send out. So let's say you had, 10 different ERC20s, and just to send them, oh my gosh, it's crazy. It can be like 30, 40 bucks. In fact, let's give you a little tool that, hold on, where did that go? This is, I think, kind of a fun one. My son likes this one. It kind of shows you some of the base fees, the GUI fee, and oh my gosh, the median contract fee is 153 bucks right now. That is outrageous. And transfer fees, $21. So instead of paying all those huge fees, think about selling your ERC20s on the exchange that you're on and sell them into something like Litecoin, where it is virtually, almost free to send. Now, one of the things you have to also remember is, depending on the exchange that you're on, they may charge some outrageous fees. Or they may have some normal fees. It just really depends on what is the policy of those exchanges. I think it was the one with the bull, like Hit BTC, something like that. I traded there once, and the fees to remove coins were just out of style, so I will never go back to them. So just make sure that when you have those network fees on something like Litecoin, that they're actually reasonable instead of outrageous like the ERC20 fees right now. The next thing, there'll be an article going out from Jetta Red on Sunday, helping the step-by-step if you have your identity stolen. He put some things together and that are really helpful. But one thing to remember is that if someone asks you, and this is just in general, if someone emails you and says, "Hey, I need this information, could you email it to me?" If it is a cookie recipe, go ahead, send it to them. If it is your driver's license, your social security number, a tax form, a tax return, something like that, never ever do that. Just know email is insecure. It is captured. It is stored in Utah, and it's not conspiracy theory. It just is the way things are. So email is sent out in plain text, and it is captured, stored for retrieval later by a big bad agency, and that's just the way it is. So if you are going to give someone some personal information, number one, make sure you're giving it to the person that you think is getting it. And number two, it's kind of okay, depending on how they have things set up, to upload them to a secure area via a browser, because if you have encryption to encryption, you should be okay. But that is something that you should consider whether or not you want to do. Or in my case, I go back to the old days of the snail mail. So there have been a few things that I needed to have sent out, and I asked the provider for a secure upload area, and they said, "What's that?" And I said, "Okay, can I just have your mailing address?" And I mailed it to them instead of having to worry about anything else. So just be really careful on what information you send out to people, because once it goes out, there's no bringing it back. Once it's on the internet, good luck getting it off, especially if you don't know where it's gone. So be careful where you put things. So let's go and start with the list of questions for today. Okay, this, good morning, George. My ledger indicates it was up to date. I'm not going to go through this big piece, but one thing that you can do, there's a couple different pieces to this question. There is Ledger Live Update, the software itself. There's the firmware update for the piece of hardware, either Ledger Nano S or X, and then there's the app updates. So one of the easiest way to update things is through Ledger itself. Ledger Live itself. Sometimes at the top you'll see that it says update available, and you can just click on that and download. If you know that there's an update and you don't get it, you're not notified in Ledger Live, what you can do is you can visit ledger.com and you can go to Apps and Services, Downloads, and scroll down and download the Windows, the Mac, or the Linux app, and do it yourself. That way you're getting the latest. I know there was a bug way back a couple months ago where Windows was not automatically notifying you that there was an update. And so you can just go to Ledger itself, their website, download the update and install it. And that's pretty easy. The harder one is if you have the latest version of Ledger Live, sometimes it's delaying adding the firmware update at the top, where you could click it, where you have to click it up there, and update the firmware on your Ledger hardware devices. What I have found is sometimes if you restart your computer, sometimes if you restart Ledger Live, all of a sudden that appears. But what some people may run into is if you don't have the latest version of Ledger Live running on your computer, it's not going to request that you do a firmware update, because they kind of run hand in hand. And then of course there is the apps themselves, and those it's pretty easy to do an update, because when you go to the manage the apps area, it'll tell you which ones need to be updated, and you can kind of move forward updating those. Okay, how do we determine if you have enough gas to move your coins to Ledger, from Ledger to Kalo and Brown? Gas, we're going to have to define that a little bit, and I know people did down here. Gas refers to many different coins. Neo, there's Neo Gas, IOST, doing a little bit of research yesterday, moving some things around. It has gas. Ethereum, it does not have a gas coin, but it has gas that is needed to transfer the coins. It's really hard to say how much gas you're going to need for the different coins. Neo, it's pretty inexpensive. I believe it's 0.11 gas, or it's 0.01 gas when you move some for some Neo coins and Flamingo. It's really inexpensive. Ethereum gas, it depends on the day. It depends on how busy the networks are. One suggestion for anybody new or people that have been around, When things start to get crazy, when Ethereum runs, when a lot of the ERC20s run, you'll see these fees just go through the roof, more so than they are now. And so if you know you're going to liquidate, within a short period of time, you could send it to Caleb and Brown if you're going to liquidate there, or another exchange if you're going to liquidate. And so that you're not trying to send things in the crazy times that hopefully are ahead. But get all your coins in some type of document that you know where they are and where you're going to send them, and your targets and that type of thing. And then you can always get them to the exchange a little bit early if you trust that exchange. Coinbase went down in April. Coinbase went down a little bit ago with SHIB. So just be careful when you're going to something that's not Caleb and Brown, because your coins may be there, but the wallets might be locked. You might be locked out. They may have a problem, keeping their website up. So just, be aware of that. Okay. Elizabeth, as I had so few BCH and Jetta Red in a tech video, said if you would have less than 1 million of the new coins, it probably wasn't worth doing the split. Is my BCH still usable? Well, BCH is always usable. It would be whether or not you have the eCash out of that. And honestly, if you have just a little bit of eCash, it may or may not be worth it for you. You can kind of do the calculation to see if you have an estimate of how many coins you might have. I had to kind of liquidate some of mine on SimpleSwap because Caleb and Brown doesn't take eCash, and part of what I'm trying to do is narrow down the number of coins that I'm going to need to deal with toward the end of the year. Can you comment on Windows 11? I remember when 10 was forced on, many people didn't want it. I have a less than a year old HP. That's really a personal choice. I have not migrated to Windows 11, but I don't really use Windows. I only use Windows as a tool when I have to run certain things. It's not like the old days where upgrading some of the operating systems really killed things. But if you are required to use this 100% with work or personal, and you don't feel comfortable, maybe wait until this run before you upgrade to Windows 11. The other thing I have to say is, if you have old hardware, don't upgrade your OS. Get a new piece of hardware, get a new laptop, get a new desktop. Parts wear out. They can be repaired, but it's really stressful if you're trying to get things off it and you don't have your computer there for you because it's in the repair shop, or the hardware or the hard drive died. And if you didn't have that backed up, you can run into some big issues, because it's a lot cheaper to buy new hardware and get things in place while your old hardware is working than trying to get a new piece of hardware in when your old hardware is dead, because then you really can't copy anything over. And just know that a fan can go on it, a memory module can go on it. Not very likely, but it happens. But a hard drive, when that goes, everything that's on your computer goes. And it's not that you need to save your applications, but if you have pictures, family pictures, things that just can't be replaced, and you don't have them backed up someplace, you lose everything. And as well as anything crypto related, some emails, if you've taken those offline, tax returns, all those kind of wonderful things. It's important to keep things backed up. And it's also important, if you have hundreds of thousands of dollars at a minimum, to have the right tools in place so that you don't run into the problem of having a dead computer and then trying to deal with that in the middle of dealing with everything else. Okay, Sanford, and we talked a little bit about this. It is so expensive to move ERC20 tokens. How can you minimize these costs? The best way to minimize the cost is to not invest in ERC20s. I don't anymore because I'm fed up with their fees. But when you have them, depending on where they are, it is important to, like we talked about earlier in the show, if you have them on an exchange and you have 5 different ERC20s, you could liquidate them into something like Litecoin or another inexpensive network fee-based coin and get them off the exchange that way. The other thing is just looking at the time of day, looking for certain trends that may or may not be there. I used to, but this was, let's see, we're 10 months ago, I would send my ERC20s Saturday morning and Sunday morning. That's when it seemed to be cheapest for network fees, but that's something that you're going to have to figure out. And there's really no way to minimize these costs when you have to send them. If, like I said before, if you start sending them when things get crazy, you're going to be paying huge fees. So some of the smaller ERC20s, maybe move them now, maybe consolidate now if that's an option for you, if it's something you feel comfortable with. You can always send some of your ERC20s now off to Caleb and Brown and just have them sit there waiting for whatever you want to do with them, pivot, sell them to cash, whatever you feel comfortable with. But while the fees aren't high now, I mean, they're outrageous as compared to what it was in 2017, but they will get larger as time progresses. And that's really the best way to deal with it. I mean, there are some other ways, but they're different networks. And then it gets really complex. And I don't want people's eyes to glaze over, but you can move ERC20s on different networks for less money, but you have to know what you're doing. And I have a hard time wanting to explain that because that is the article or the video that I posted where people were sending out their SHIB on the KCC network. It was cheaper to send out, but unless you knew what you're doing or unless you had a KCC network address or wallet address, your coins disappeared. So there are ways to minimize, but you have to know what you're doing. And it also depends on what you're doing. Are you sending them to Caleb and Brown? Well, there's no other way. ERC20 needs to go to an ERC20 wallet at Caleb and Brown. But if you're storing them to hold them for a couple of years or a couple months, you could put them on another network and move them around that way. But that really just goes back to what you're trying to accomplish. Hello, I was attempting to move more coins to Ledger Nano X, would not connect. I attempted to update Ledger Live and it will not update. Says there is an update. I tried my Mac, tried again. Ledger Live will not update and device will not connect. And device will not connected. I do have additional Nano X making a minor device or mirrored device to try. Am I missing something? Laura Lake, it depends on what you mean by it won't update. Are you downloading the software directly? And when you install it, it doesn't update? And what is the error? Does it say, the application is open and you have to close it? So some of that, the devil is in the details on that, and some errors on why, because just saying that it won't update, it's hard to know. If you can get some more of those details like, oh, it's giving me this error code, or it says this, then it would be easier to diagnose. But that all needs to be updated. Ledger Live, the software, has to be updated so that you can update the firmware on the Nano X. And just remember, because this may be an issue, if you have issues like this on a particular wallet, Ledger Live, shut down your computer, start it back up, and only run that. You may have something running in the background. You could have an O3 wallet. You could have another wallet, a Neo wallet, that is running in the background and taking resources and conflicting with Ledger Live. You could have Ledger Live open and have an issue with the O3 wallet. So if you seem to have any issues, shut everything down, turn off your computer, start your computer back up, and only run that application and see if you can try that again. Okay. Beginner question about Exodus wallet. In order to send and receive ERC20 tokens like OMG and USDC, do I need to have enough of actual Ethereum coin in the wallet to pay for the gas, or does it come out of the ERC token I am receiving or sending? You know, that is a good question. And I don't have the answer for that for Exodus. I don't spend a lot of time on Exodus, and some of the exchanges, it depends, because I was just talking to someone the other day, and they said that they were sending SHIB off one of the exchanges, and SHIB is an ERC20, so that can go right into your Ethereum wallet. So is Akita, so is OMG. But they were charged a huge amount of SHIB to have their SHIB sent. Some exchanges require you to have Ethereum to send an ERC20. Some take the fee right out of the coin that you're sending itself. So if someone knows that uses Exodus more than I do, let me know, and you know, I'll have that in my brain. But most of the time when I use Exodus, I'm using Litecoin or BCH or something like that, because I just don't send ERC20s around. I don't like the fees. Hi George, have you covered how to unstake T-Fuel from Gpool? If not, can you explain it to me? If so, can you please direct me to the right place? Thanks. Okay, there is a video, set of videos actually. I think it has the unstaking. Let's go staking, theta. Okay, if you visit the bitcoinacademy.net, so the .net site, and you go to technology as a pull down menu, and you go to staking, you can select the theta token and T-Fuel page, and this will kind of give you some step throughs on how to unstake and stake theta and T-Fuel. It really is, I don't have an example because I don't have anything but my main wallet, and I don't feel comfortable showing that to everybody. But if these videos don't show you exactly what you need, just put a ticket in with a little button on the right-hand corner of any of the websites, and I'll do one that kind of shows that. I've done so many videos, I don't know exactly what they all show. I used to remember, and now it's just a blur on, you know, is it updated? Is it showing the right thing? And that is one of the problems with doing videos, is that when an interface changes, like Citadel Wallet, which is where I recommended people store their IOST, that has changed. You know, it's night and day now. I went on it the other day. It's like, wow, this is nothing like it was when I saw the first, the first rev of it. So, you know, if I did a video, which I think there is a Citadel one out there, it's either on the bitcoinacademy.net or my website, blacklab.net. It's, you know, it's totally different, and it probably wouldn't work for staking things on that, just because the website is so different. Hold on, let me get some water. Okay. Hi, George. Thank you for everything you've done. Yeah, in regards to showing us around in crypto space, my question is about STETH. I staked STETH on my ledger through Lido. As I see the price of ETH increasing, I'd like to unstake, but since Ethereum 2.0 hasn't come out yet, I'm willing to sell. Now the problem is I'm unable to sell back to ETH. I tried swapping selling through my MetaMask, Zapper, Curve, even Xeron with no luck. However, when I try to sell, I get an error or not enough funds. I have enough ETH for fees, but it may take my fees with no exchange from STETH to ETH. Any thoughts or solutions? I have not done anything with staked Ethereum once I found that they're not going to be able to unstake until Ethereum 2.0 was officially released, maybe in 2022. I kind of stepped aside and said, nope, I'm not going to do that. Now I know someone in my family, they staked some of their ETH on Coinbase and didn't understand that you do have to wait until Ethereum 2.0 comes out to unstake that. But doing a little bit of research on the STETH, basically staked ETH, it does say that you can sell it. What the issues might be on selling, again, those are devil in the details. You know, I would have to take a closer look at this, because is it that you know, it's asking for ETH? Is it asking for something else? I was helping someone this morning resolve an issue, and it was they were trying to move some coins from an Ethereum wallet, but they you know, looking at Ledger Live, it looked like they had plenty of ETH. Well, they were two different Ethereum accounts, and so, you know, trying to send from the Ethereum account that had no ETH in it, thinking that there was ETH because it was in another account. So that one is, I have to look into it to see what the details are on that. I'm sorry, I wish I had something better to say, but from my research, they did say you can sell it, but the issues with selling it, that, you know, just really depends on what's going on. George, apologies, this has been covered. I'm not sure at some point, but would you mind briefly listing off your recommended Hbar, FLM, and Casper wallet recommendations? Hbar, I'm going to presume you have a hardware wallet. So with your Ledger, you can use My Hbar wallet. And you can, you know, create a wallet, access a wallet, hardware, Ledger. One of the reasons why I use Ledger is because Ledger is on and supports other coins that Trezor does not. So that's one reason why I use Ledger. But you would just use Ledger, the hardware side, and you'd put the Hbar app on there. For FLM, it is the Neo wallet, the Neon, the O3 wallet. Wherever Neo will go, FLM will go. Casper, they do not yet, I don't know, I haven't checked the last 4 days. They do not yet have the officially released non-beta app on the Ledger, so I'm not doing anything with mine except for leaving it on the exchange that is there. And I probably will never bring it back into my life, and I'll probably have to liquidate it there. But I think it's Casper.live, but because it's not connected with the Ledger, I don't want to bring it back because I don't want another set of 12 or 24 words to maintain and have to put in my encrypted system and solution, because every time I do get a set of 12 words, 24 words, whatever, as a new wallet, I have a process that I go through, and it is put into an encrypted set that then is triplicated. And so, you know, I have everything backed up, and I don't worry about it, but I don't want to have to do that unless I absolutely have to do it. And since I'm probably not going to keep Casper past the end of the year, I'm not going to bring it back in my life because it's going to be too hard to get rid of. Hi, George. Thanks for the class. Question: in Qtum, we got the QI. There are several listed on CoinMarket: Ben QI, QI Swap, and QI DAO. Each has a trading pair including Q, Gate, Quick Swap. Depending on the correct token, I am assuming we go to the exchange, trade it for something like USDC and whatever listed, and stored in the hard wallet. I also like LedgerX. I did have QI, and QI actually, I'll show you which one. It's QI swap. And I've done it for myself, and I should have done a video, but I was like, not too many people may need it. The QI swap is what I had. And what you have to do is you have to jump through hoops. There's really, if you look at the market, there's not much of a market. I don't go to Gate.io, I don't go to MEXC. And what I did was, let's see, we're going to just go to QI swap. And let's hold on. Basically, you install a little, I think I may have gotten rid of it. You guys can't see this drop down, but let me go to manage extensions. You install a little extension. Yep, and I got rid of it. I may have to, if there are enough people, maybe I'll do a quick video, but the idea is you have to install a Chrome plugin, the QI wallet. You add it to Brave, you quickly make a wallet. So you have your 12 words. That's another reason why I don't want to, keep this. You add this extension, you create a wallet, you make sure you have those 12 words. And then what I did, and I did it for one other person, is I took all my QI from my core wallet, which I got the QI in. I sent it to that wallet. I also sent one QDM because you need to have the gas fees. I sent it to the QI wallet. I swapped it out for QDM. And then I took all that swapped out QDM and took it back to the core wallet. And from that core wallet, then I threw all of that onto my ledger. So that's kind of it in a nutshell, but you're going to need to have the QI wallet to send it to. You can do a swap into QDM, and then you can bring all of that back into your QDM wallet. That's that is what I did, and I found it pretty easy. Otherwise, you can send it to, an exchange and try to sell it out for ETH or USDT, I guess. I just don't want to have to go onto an exchange, and I would just rather do it myself. Okay, does Caleb & Brown offer accountability like online account positions, cash balance, or trade confirmations? I've seen nothing so far. Check my positions and cash balance. They do not have an online like Binance, like Coinbase. That's one reason why I keep a very few number of coins there. I do have some of my troublesome coins, like Wax, EOS. I'm about to probably send there, but coins that are just a pain to do anything with, those are the ones that I focused on first. And when I have them ready to go, because I'm going to liquidate them, I'm sending them to Caleb & Brown first thing, so I don't have to deal with them later, because I will never get into EOS again. You have to stake some CPU to send it, and it just becomes kind of a pain in the butt. But back to Caleb & Brown, I would check with your broker, but they do not have an online, like this is your balance. I keep all my confirmations. I keep all my emails I send to Jeff, anything that they send back to me. So it's kind of like you have to keep it up to date to know for yourself, but you can also check with your broker and say, hey, could you give me a list of everything that I have there? And they should be able to do that. Whoa, okay. Yes, this one you guys can read through. Ian did email me this earlier. We'll get back to this one, if anything. We'll kind of go down a little bit because that's a big long thing. And the issue that I have with this one is that we'll get back to this one because it's cracking your ledger and getting some private keys out. And I don't think that's a really good idea for anybody unless you absolutely positively know what you're doing. Because I consider when you have your private keys in a hardware wallet, once you crack your wallet and expose those, then it's not private anymore. And I personally can't trust it. So I will do everything but to crack my wallet. This comes from CK17. Hi, George. Another question. I have a 2018 MacBook Pro. The batteries were replaced a few months ago. The Apple Store said the firmware needed to be upgraded at some point. They said it is unpredictable how long it would last. My hesitancy is that the unit has to have the info saved and then wiped clean. I use my Mac Air for my crypto, so not a big concern. One, any idea how long firmware can last? Firmware doesn't necessarily, I'm not sure what they mean by firmware lasting. Firmware is written to any device, and it's not that it doesn't last, but firmware is code that's written hard coded into a device, firmware, so that it does not disappear when the computer's turned off. So I'm not sure what they mean by how long will the firmware last. They could say how long the computer will last, but firmware is there forever unless it has a self-destruct mechanism, which I've never heard of. Number two, in general, are there things that will not back up well? I have not run across anything that will not back up well, except for Google Auth. Google Auth, when you move your phone, well, the older Google Auth, I believe they have a way that you can migrate things over, but I've given them up, and I use LastPass Authenticator. But it depends on what you mean by backup, because I don't back up any of my applications because I can always download them again and install them, but I back up my my documents, anything like that. I have a backup process that I use. I also have my Mac that's backed up continuously, but I don't necessarily rely on that part of it. So, backup well, if you have a database that you're running, you have to do a different process to back up a database. So it really just depends on what your particulars are. That I can't say, I don't have anything that won't back up well, because I know how to back it up. So that one I'm going to have to skip. Three, I only have one browser wallet, Redcoin, which I am having trouble transferring coins to a new wallet. An issue, maybe I can go back on with you, maybe I can airdrop to the new Mac. Have not done airdrops, but can read up on it. Thanks for your classes. One thing that you have to remember, when you do an airdrop, you have to enable your wireless for an airdrop, which then, you're kind of going online. The thing to remember, guys, when Jay having a crypto computer and you having a crypto computer is kind of a very different thing. If you have 90%, 95% of your coins on a hardware wallet, you really don't need a crypto computer, because what you're protecting, what you used to protect, are your core wallets. And those core wallets would actually need the internet to update. So, that's also an issue. But you were protecting your wallet.dat file. And the wallet.dat file was in a core wallet, and you needed to back that up, and you need to make sure that it was password protected and that type of thing. So when you have a crypto computer, number one, you do want to make sure that it's up to date. But number two, it really depends on how you have things. Now, I know Redcoin, it's there's no ledger for it. You have to have a core wallet. But there may be some light wallets for Redcoin. I don't know. But the thing is, if you have Redcoin and the value is like $500, and you have to buy a crypto computer that's $1,000, because you want to make sure that it's of good quality, that's going to stay up, and it's not going to, you get something cheap that something breaks. You don't want that happen on your crypto computer. You may be overpaying for a crypto computer that isn't necessary. With Redcoin and some of these, number one, if you have it encrypted, which means password protected, and you back up the wallet.dat file to an encrypted drive that you put in triplicate so that it's all over the place in an encrypted format, then you're kind of backed up. So it's hard to say if you are going to do airdrop, you have to, turn on the wireless. The other option is using a USB memory stick, drive, whatever, and push things off that way. Good morning, George. Thank you. If I have got my FLM unstaked on my Neon wallet without Ledger, do I need to do anything special extra with those coins due to the new legacy updates and whatnot, or am I safe to just wait until the day arrives of sending them over to Caleb Brown for selling purposes? Thank you very much. I will say this part. Depends. I don't know how you have your Neo coins protected. Meaning, if you had $10,000 in Flamingo, I would say having a. Well, let me open up my Neon wallet real quick, because I don't know what the other options are. And okay, private, which means a private key. Hold on, let's do this. Let me get this over there. Okay, so what he is talking about is that right now I always have mine on Ledger because it's a hardware wallet, and I feel it's the safest. When you have a private, this option, you have to put your private key here, which means you have to copy and paste it, which means it's stored somewhere in your computer, which means you're not typing it in because the private key would be, it'd be impossible to, I mean, you could, but storing your private keys in a non-encrypted environment is something that I would not do. So I wouldn't keep my private key in LastPass. I wouldn't keep it on my desktop in a document, in an email, something like that, because it's way too vulnerable. There's the encrypted key and then a password. But then again, these are things that you're either typing in or copying and pasting, so that if there is some type of malware, you can be compromised. And then watch is just an address that you would watch to see what comes in and out. So if you had, $100,000 and you had a private or encrypted, potentially that's at risk. If you had $500,000, I would do everything to get it onto a ledger because we don't know what we don't know. And that is the biggest issue. Like I just hear all sorts of stories, and if someone was keeping their 24 words on a I think it was an Excel spreadsheet or something like that, and because things go to the cloud or emails or malware, those 24 words are your private keys. So they woke up one Christmas, last Christmas, and all of their coins were gone from their hardware wallet because they had written down their 24 words on something that was compromised. They had other coins that had two-factor authentication on an exchange, and those were safe because there was two-factor authentication. But when, it really depends on how you have your private keys stored on whether or not I could recommend anything like that. And honestly, nowadays, with the technology and how things are, I can't say anything but putting it on a hardware wallet, because here's the other thing. So you have it unstaked, and anything special extra with these coins due to the new legacy updates and whatnot, I'm not worried about the updates. I'm worried about where your private keys are stored. I don't know what's happening with Neo and when things are going to be officially moved over. I know Caleb and Brown, the last time I checked, they did not support Neo 3.0, and that's why I'm keeping it at 2.0. I'm also staking my coins on Flamingo.finance, and Flamingo is not going over to Neo 3.0 until sometime in mid-November. So there are lots of reasons for me not to move forward because that is unknown. What is known is that I'm on Neo 2.0. I'm not getting any more gas or earning any more gas when I hold Neo, but that's okay because I'm not holding Neo. I'm having my Neo staked on Flamingo Finance. And so that's why it's, it's hard to answer, but I would say out of this question, it's more of where are your private keys and how are they being stored? Neo 2.0 is going to be fine for a year from a month ago or so. So I would not worry about that. I'm not worried about it. I'm worried about more of the new technology than the older technology. But technology meaning, sorry, Neo 2.0. I'm comfortable with Neo 3.0. There's still, potentially some little glitches on that. Okay. Don't say my name. Sorry, I said it. Next time I'll read better. Don't say my name says, if I wanted to simply send my coins to a different ledger device, there's no way than having to go through an exchange and paying the fees, right? Thanks, sir. No, you do not have to go through an exchange. You just have to send them to the new wallet address. So in this example, I'm going to say Litecoin. Litecoin is on Ledger Live. When you add an account to Ledger Live, you would select Litecoin and you'd add that account. Now, one thing people don't remember, and I can't show it to you here because you'll see too much, but you can name that account. You can go up and you can say, instead of having a Litecoin or I don't know, it was probably Litecoin 1, and then the next one you add is Litecoin 2. But you don't know what that means, except for it's the first Litecoin account, it's the second Litecoin account. What you really need to do, what I do, I think what other people need to do also, is if you have multiple ledgers, physically take something. I have one of those. I'm kind of a neat freak at some of this. So I have one of those little mini label makers. And I make a label that says Ledger Nano X number 1. And I put it physically on my Ledger X. And then when I have my Ledger 2, I say the same thing except for it's number 2. So when I add an account into Ledger Live, I say that it's X number 2 or X number 1. And so it would be my Litecoin on my Ledger X number 1. That would be the account for that. And then I would stick my Ledger X number 2 in and I'd create an account for Litecoin. And basically, if I want to send my coins from one ledger to another, I would just do it all locally. So I wouldn't go through an exchange. I would just exchange them from one to another by sending the coins from ledger 1 to ledger 2 or vice versa, that kind of thing. But you don't have to go through an exchange. I wouldn't go through an exchange. They're a pain. You have to 2FA all the time. And then not only that, they see what coins are coming from and where they're going to. Keep them out of it. Just send it from one ledger account to another ledger account that are on 2 separate ledger devices. Wes says, hi, George. When Jay talks about stepping to the sidelines in December, is the idea to trade back into stable coins initially or just cash out fiat right away? Or can you provide me with more insight on safely getting to and being on the sidelines? Wes, he has talked about that for a long time. Well, I guess 2 months. What Jay is doing is he is stepping on the sidelines going into cash. Why he's doing that, you will have to ask him. I don't get into that type of stuff because I'm just talking about tech. And he's going to cash. You can do whatever you feel comfortable with, but I know on all the last live streams, he has said he is going into cash. Let me do this, see if we have any more, and then we're going to go to your guys' questions. Whoa. Okay, wait. Okay, we have a couple more. Good morning, George. I think I know the answer, but I thought I would ask. I can't find my 12 words for my Theta wallet. I do have my wallet address, and I'm able to see it on the Theta Explorer, but I can't do much more that I know of. Any suggestions? Carlos, find those 12 words. Because unless you can get into that wallet, let's go to the Theta. This is one reason why I always suggest a hardware wallet, because you will never forget your Theta keys. Those 24 words that you first set up when you install or when you create a hardware wallet, whether it be a Trezor or a Ledger, those are the only things that you have to remember. But let's go to Theta. So these are the things that you, the ways that you can store it. A key store, which is a file, which means if you store a key store on your computer, whoever has that file can open it. Mnemonic phrase, these are your 12 words, and then the private key. They're almost one in the same. Like the key store, the mnemonic phrase, and the private key you can have all three of them from the same set. It just depends on how you create it. But if you don't have the 12 words, there's no way you can get into it. And that is for everybody's safety, because if I set up a wallet and it was easy to get into without knowing those 12 words, then yeah, that's completely not secure. I have to, let me see if I can find something, because this kind of, I know they have things right here, and key store, mnemonic, and private key. But if you go to, let me get an app open so you can kind of see, because this is how they should really label it. Hold on, let me pull this up. Okay, this is what I want to show you. This is an app that I use. It's called My Crypto. And this is how I access a lot of my ERC20s and my Ethereum. But right here, they have Ledger, they have Trezor, and they have private key, and it has a big exclamation point. This wallet type is insecure. Does that show up? Yeah, shows up there. Key store. This wallet type is insecure. Let's go to the mnemonic phrase. That's got to be secure, right? Right? Nope. This wallet type is insecure. These three are legacy, and they should never be used nowadays, because I don't like to recommend my class, but I will recommend my class and say, which I'm not done, and I'm going away next week. It's working, going away, but I'm going to finish up the last few courses in it. But this is where it shows you that you can have a ledger, and you can back things up. The private key, the key store, the mnemonic phrase should always absolutely 100% be backed up to an encrypted device. The class shows you how to do it on Windows, how to do it on Mac. And then you should duplicate it, you should triplicate it, because if your house burns down, and I wish that for no one, or a tornado comes and takes it away, if you don't have this information stored someplace else, which is unique to you, you're going to lose everything. It would be really tragic. I know someone in California who lost everything because a wildfire swept down and burned their house to the ground, and they did not have things backed up. And that's really, really tragic. But people don't think about this, but it's things that I do think about. I'm paranoid by nature, and I'm okay with that. And I have things backed up so that will never happen. If my house decides to leave me, well, here's an example, and for anybody that's been around a while, you'll know this one. I always ask someone that's kind of new, that we're talking about, how to back things up. I say, if you go to work and you come home and space aliens have taken away your home and you will never see your home again, you know, foundation and all, do you have your ledger, your treasure, your private keys backed up somewhere else? And if you can say, yes, I have them in a safe at my office, I have them in a safe at my mom's house or my brother's house, or it's encrypted and he has it and he can't get to it, but he has it for that worst case scenario, that I'm not going to lose my fortune because I was unfortunate enough not to be home or have my house damaged, and everything in it is kind of gone. I would really seriously recommend you think about that, because honestly, it's heartbreaking to hear that something as simple as having an encrypted device that maybe you haven't backed it up in 3 months, but the majority of your stuff is there so that it can be retrieved and you can get your fortune back. So seriously think about that. Let's go back to, going to go back to Theta Wallet. We're going to go, hold on just a sec. Okay, Wes asks, what is the best recommended way to cash out back into USD? For instance, crypto.com has a withdrawal limit of 5K per day. If trying to withdraw a big bag, any advice other than exchange method or where to learn realistically cashing out 7 figures, please? Wes, you have not been here long enough then, because this is something that we talk about all the time. And if you go, well, let's go to bitcoinacademy.io, because I think it's right up here. I think in the founders page. Is Caitlin Brown here? Nope, I guess then it's going to the bitcoinacademy.net. Well, you know what? We have to have something for that. Let me take a quick look. Jetta, I did not see the your message. I turned that signal off. If you go to bitcoinacademy.net, maybe I'll have to put it in the founders page, and you go to services, crypto services, Caleb Brown. Caleb Brown, you will be able to take 7 figures, 8 figures. That's not an issue. So Caleb Brown, that's where you need to go, sign up, tell them the binge team sent you, and that is where you can take large amounts back into your life. And Bob says, George, how close to targets do you usually move your coins over to Caleb Brown? Do you do it based on percentage to target or the amount you are looking or capturing or something else? Thanks for all you do. There's someone in my family that asks me that question too. And I have a spreadsheet. I have targets where I wish to sell, and I will look at a coin. And because I do this all the time, I kind of know the troublesome coins and the ones that aren't so troublesome. I work with Caleb Brown, and if I know that we're getting closer to targets, I will ask for a wallet address, and then I will send the coins. When I feel we're getting close, within 2 to 3 weeks, I mean, things could spike. This is when I've been preparing the last 2 months. It's all my coins are on a spreadsheet. I know where every one of them are. And the funny thing was, when I was going through and making sure the ones on the spreadsheet were there and where were they, I ran across 1 or 2 that I forgot about. One was QI, because I was looking at my QDM. But there was another one that was like, oh yeah, I completely forgot about this, and it was on one set of sheets, but it wasn't on the ones for to be sold. So, it depends on your comfort level. I work with a lot of people that might hire me and say, hey, can you just help me move all these coins? And we'll do it. And it could be, a couple months before. I would say do what you feel comfortable with. And if you worry at night about getting your coins to the exchange, then send them. Do not lose sleep over it. I do trust Caleb and Brown, but because we're potentially getting close to the end of the bull market, this is when, onboarding them to the place that you're going to liquidate is okay to do. If we were in the middle or if we were in the beginning, hold your own coins, because there's some coins like Neo, you used to be able to get gas, and some other coins where you can easily stake, like ADA. It's the easiest thing to stake in the world, and T-Fuel. It's easier, not as easy as ADA, but when you leave your coins and let them do that, then you're missing out on some opportunities. I just found $30,000 and $40,000 for people that had BCH and they got their eCash. And if they had let Caleb and Brown hold those coins, they would not have gotten that airdrop. In fact, a good friend of mine, sent me something about, where is this? And I have to investigate this because I have not looked at it yet. But Komodo had an airdrop back in August. And so this was posted, October 25th, but the airdrop amount is based on the Komodo blockchain snapshot at 1:17 p.m. They didn't say the time zone, so I don't know what, UTC, on the 26th of August. So, there are those times where they'll go back and say, if you held the coins here, then you're going to get this airdrop. Airdrops are all over the place. Sometimes you have to have it on this particular day and ahead of time, so people buy it and they move it. But this one looks like, back in August, if you held it, then you get this airdrop. I have to look into it. I held it at that date, so I will claim them. And I think I got way off topic, but yeah, do what you feel is comfortable. Now that we're getting potentially to the end of the bull market, do what's best for you. Okay, I promise not to say that. Don't say your name. You'd be surprised of some of the deals on Dell.com. I picked up a nice crypto laptop for $300. I'm still using that old Dell laptop with docking station as my main PC. It's a tank. Just keeps going and going. Just an FYI for the Binge family. Thanks for these Saturday sessions, George. Great idea. You know what? I used to buy Dell all the time, but they were more on the server side, but I would also throw in a laptop. So I'm bi. I am Mac. Well, I'm Tri. I'm Mac is my favorite, then Windows, and Linux. I am using Linux less and less, just because I don't have time to do some of the things that I used to do on it. But I think, and I'm going to quote Jetta Red on this, it's important when you have large amounts of crypto to have different platforms, because different platforms may break, and other platforms may stay intact at certain times. Perfect example, Trezor. If you want to get your Theta off your Trezor right now, you can't. You can't until I think it was the 11th or 17th of November, because it was broken. But it is, they have a fix in there. Let me see something. Okay. Let me get to some of these questions you guys are asking in the notes itself. Okay, we're about an hour in. That's good. Okay, Remo. Good morning, George. Do you foresee a safe way to get kin headed on Atomic? Which blockchain? I know that it's something that's on my list of things to do, because you can now get kin from, well, kin started as an ERC20, then it moved to Stellar, and now it's going to Solana. So it depends on which blockchain you started out with and what blockchain you're on now. I have a lot of kin in volume or the number of coins, but I don't have a lot of kin as far as value. I think I have, and that kin is one of those that I've held a very long time. And so I'm going to see how much kin I do have. I have $300 worth. And so the question is, I have to ask myself, is it worth trying to do and jump through so many hoops for $300? If kin decides to skyrocket, then that may change my mind. But that is one thing that I question when, if someone hires me and they go to the site and they, go through and they say, hey, can you help me get my kin? I will ask, how much kin do you have? Or, any coin. Well, I have $100 worth. And then I have to ask them, is it worth spending $200 for me to get $100? And I would say no, but if you want it, that's great. I'll do it. But I don't want to, take advantage. And if you think kin is going to shoot up, then yes. But I don't know what kin's going to do. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because I would rather focus on the coins and the things that really are going to make a difference. If kin triples, it's $900. I mean, it's $900 that I wouldn't have. But if some of the other coins double, I'm going to be doing much better than that. Kin, I'm going to have to get back to you. Kin has given me so much frustration because they kept on saying it's going to happen, it's going to happen, and it didn't. But I did see a document that showed how to get it on Solana. Here's the other issue that you're going to run into claiming kin on the Solana network. It means that you need to go and purchase Solana to send it. Now, let's do, where are we? Oh, maybe I moved it. So if you want to buy Solana so that you can have kin moved or claim it, that's great. Some of you have Solana. I know this is a trade Jay almost got into because it didn't go quite low enough. And man, it was like, I think it was $12 or something that he was looking at. It was right in here area, and it just didn't go down. This one didn't go down. I think it was 12 and it went down to 13. But you're going to have to buy Solana to move your kin. So that means you either have to go to Caleb Brown and spend $2,000, which may be a great solution, or a great coin to get into. I do like Solana. Don't have any, but I wish I did. And it means you're going to have to get some Solana to send your kin. So it's one of those where it's not just straightforward and easy. It's kind of a troublesome coin, and that you can go to SimpleSwap and get some Solana, but you have to go through that process to get some Solana to get your kin. Okay, hello, Elaine. Good morning. I will be short here this time because John Jay, okay. Goodbye, Elaine. Okay, can you send Neo or Flamingo coins from a legacy address to an N3 address or vice versa? Let me bring that up again. Well, I can't show you because I have to log in. No, it's one way. You can transfer, you have to basically convert from a Neo 2.0 coin to a Neo 3.0 coin. Flamingo isn't there yet. Gas is, but if you want to have your Neo, it's just one way. From 2.0 to 3.0, and it's not going back and forth at all. It's not like boba. I don't want to confuse you, but boba, you can take your OMG or your Ethereum and put it on the layer 2 boba, keep it there, send it around, a little bit less expensive than on the Ethereum network. And then you can take it from the boba layer 2 back to the Ethereum network. So it goes back and forth. Neo, it's one way, from 2.0 to 3.0 and not back. Okay. Let me read through this one first and then give me a sec. Okay, this is from AJ. George, I wanted to propose an idea that may help the bench team community and especially the newer people. What do you think about making tips, hints, and tricks section on the website where members can post helpful tips? For those that are newer and not so polished, I've tried to get something going on Telegram in the past, but it's little participation, just an idea. You know, I do like that. I know I came out with a video a while ago, and it was, you know, tips and tricks for, you know, connecting to a ledger when we had the Chrome 91. The hardest part is having the time. The second part is, you know, where it goes, because part of, where are we? Having things on the .NET site seems to be the better way and place to put it, because, you know, we have certain silos, like this is the technology silo, and we have, you know, staking, and then we have the .io site, which just has articles. It has some tech, but it's kind of all over the place. As far as trying to drill down and get just tech, it's hard. And then there's my site that, you know, goes back a while ago, and that stuff is starting to age. And so it's trying to find the time, you know, because here we have, you know, staying private, crypto essentials, coin staking, swaps and forks, software info. And so, you know, it's kind of all over the place, and I wish I had more time to bring it back and organize it. And maybe, you know, right after the first of the year, after this run is ended, I can kind of focus on that. But if we get some tricks and tips, there's so many different avenues. I am going to have to think about that, because, you know, so many people want it for a particular coin. Like, is it Hedera? Is it Neo? Is it Flamingo? How to stake? How to this, that, the other? And it's trying to organize it in a way that is actually usable and not just a list that someone may want to go down. Part of what I'm trying to do is have those tricks and tips during these live streams so that people can refer back to them, because they will also change. Like the Chrome 91 issue, kind of gone away. You know, I can use my ledger on Brave. So, you know, that part of it is gone. Dave, check max storage. Sometimes things won't update correctly if you don't have enough storage. Yep, that is correct, as well as some memory. And yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Okay, this is from AJ. Tip, if you want to minimize gas fees, watch the current ETH gas GUI at the top right corner of coin market cap homepage when ETH gas is always listed. It's actually there, and like right here. So it's does that pop up? Yeah, that pops up. The GUI price is right here. The GUI price is also no. Etherscan, the GUI price is up on Etherscan too. Yeah, they seem to be a bit different. This is 177 GUI. This is 158 GUI. And then we have this one with all the guys running around. And that is probably, what is the GUI here? GUI is 115. So yeah, so, you know, you can see and look at all this. This is just crazy. These are all the backlogged transactions on the Ethereum blockchain. They just keep going back and back and back. The other interesting thing is, if you do a transaction, like each one of these is a transaction. Someone showed this to me and I was like, oh, wow, I did not realize that. You can click and you can find yourself. Like if you're about to send something and you want to find yourself as this little head or body or Cartman type of thing run around. You can click on it and you can find your transaction. And it's either the hash or you can look it up via the from address. But it's kind of cool to see that. But yeah, thank you for that. Okay. This is from Jelly. I am loading Sia Coin wallet. Take now days to load the whole network. I am stuck. It stopped downloading the blocks. What are the best hardware recommendations? I have a MacBook Pro from 2017. What is your experience and advice or tips? Funny thing you should say that. Let me see if I close that out. I was just dealing with the Sia wallet last night. Let's do Sia. I think I closed out. Hold on, let me just see something. And what I found was kind of interesting. Hold on, give me a sec, guys. Let me see if I can share this. Let me just make sure it doesn't show anything of mine. Okay, now I'll show you. Screen sharing, there we go. This is this is a Mac Mini, an older one, a Intel based i3, I think. Let's see. It is about this Mac. Big Sur, it is a 3.6 quad core, i3, 8 gigs of RAM. It runs a couple other things, some of the blockchains that I run, but I had to update my Sia wallet. And what seemed to have happened, let's go back to Sia. If you go to somewhere, it had, maybe it was here, settings. No. Somewhere it had update. I went, you know what? Somewhere on here, there is an update about, oh, maybe it's about, yeah. If you go to the about, check for updates, 1.5.7 is updated. What I found was I was helping someone out and they needed a place to have Sia, which reminds me, I'll tell you guys that in a sec. And so I said, oh, that's funny. I just updated mine and let me get you a wallet address. So I did. It was taking forever to sync up. So I quit, I shut down. Don't just quit Sia, but shut it down. And it gave me an error about the part of it, part of that not working correctly. So shut it down and bring it back and let it, and maybe do that a couple times for Sia. Sia is just kind of one of those troublesome ones that I am going to gather and update it and then send it off so I don't have to deal with it, because I understand your frustration about Sia, and that is just try to play with it a little bit. If you have an issue, let me know, put a support ticket in, but I think things had crashed on it. I think if you, number one, like I have an external hard drive that I put all my blockchains on this, because I don't want it to take up other more important things. And so I have it set up kind of different for me. There's really nothing else running on this at the time. So it may be that you try to turn everything off, try to get the Sia wallet synced up. It kept on saying syncing, syncing, syncing at the top right-hand corner. I quit it out, restarted it, and then, probably about 15, 20 minutes later, it was fully synced. So yeah, there are some troublesome wallets, and Sia seems to be one of them. Next question, if I buy a separate Mac Mini, M1. Can I connect this to my MacBook Pro from 2017? Can I connect this to my MacBook Pro? It depends on what you mean by connect. Can you migrate from your 2017 to the Mac Mini? Yep. Can you connect to it from, right here, I'm doing basically a screen share, and this is all just built into the Mac OS with this Mac Mini that's in another part of the house. So you're gonna have to define what you mean by connect. And do you send your deposit mails encrypted to Caleb and Brown? Nope, because I don't care if anybody knows my wallet address because it's a public address. So I don't worry about it being encrypted. Because I'm not hiding anything the way I have my things structured. If someone knows, that's fine. I don't want them to steal it, but I'm not hiding from the IRS. I'm not hiding from my state government. So I'm not worried about that. If I was going to send some private keys, I would never do it that way. But I'm not too worried about sending what I want to deposit. And this is from Dave. Not that I would recommend storing keys directly on a Mac or PC. Two things for Macs. You can add a no-sync extension to the end of any folder. For example, myfolder.nosync. This disables iCloud from uploading it to the cloud and keeps it only on your local computer. You can also create password-protected DMG folders using the disk image, then going to File, New Image from Folder. Yep, and you can also use a sparse bundle, and I prefer the sparse bundle because you can have it expand. Yeah, I can't show you this one because it has a lot of stuff on it, but anything like I have I have some sensitive information that I have. Sorry, someone was texting me, and yes, thank you for reminding me, and I will talk about that right next. I create a sparse bundle. It's in the class, but obviously, Dave, you know what you're talking about. Because a sparse bundle, I password protect it. It lives on my hard drive. I can double click it. It's like mounting an external drive, and it's encrypted, and I can copy to and from it. A sparse bundle, you can vary the size so it can grow. Like I could create a sparse bundle that's 200 gigs, and initially it may be uh, you know, 100 megs because there's nothing in it. And as you add things, it'll grow and grow. You can't shrink a sparse bundle. Like if you put a 300 gig file on it, it would grow to that plus. But if you threw that 300 gig file away, it wouldn't shrink back down. But yeah, those are great ideas. Okay. Yeah, AE says, refresh your questions page. There are more. JM, George, thanks again for the most recent one-on-one. I was very enlightened about the difference between staking and providing liquidity. Could you do a brief explanation for the group or possible video if you believe it's warranted? Not sure if this will be important if the bad stuff comes to pass, but could be very useful in the future if we have more in crypto. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to do it today because I only have like 6 minutes left, and I want to try to keep this to an hour and a half because I know after an hour and a half, it just gets to be a little bit much. But maybe what I can do is kind of go through, because I'd like to show examples, but I also don't want to dox myself. And so I will take a note, but I am also going to talk about what was just texted. And that is, there was a person in the group who had given up on his cryptos that were stuck on Binance.com, not Binance.us, but we all used to easily be able to go to Binance.com and do things, and then they said, no, you're from the US, so you can't do it. And then we would get onto our VPNs and sneak in, but they already knew our address because we verified, because it was okay at that point to do it. So then they eventually kicked us all off. Well, this person was vigilant on wanting to get their coins back. and they logged on through, I think it was Singapore, the Singapore VPN connection through my VPN, and they were able to basically Binance blessed them to get all the coins off, and they had 6 days. Yeah, 5 days left to get off the coins. Hey, this person, did they say this is kind of generalized for everybody? Like everybody in the US, you have 5 days, or was it more of, oh, we like you, so we're going to give you 7 days? And I'll have this person answer if they can. But try different locations to get your Binance.com coins off. Beg, plead, email, just say, look, they're not your coins. Give me 5 days, give me 7 days to get them off, and see if they will. Okay, Richard. Hi, George. Do you believe it's safe enough to have a Word or Excel file encrypted on a memory stick and copy it to a cloud storage, which is also encrypted and is transferred to the cloud? So it would be doubly encrypted. I'm not going to necessarily mention the brand. I don't like anything in the cloud. I can't verify anything that someone says unless I know someone that works at the company and can say yes, or they are audited and they say, yes, we are third-party auditor that has said that they are truly encrypting things. Because how many stories have we heard where VPN companies say, oh, we're not keeping logs? Well, what logs are you not keeping? Because there's probably 10 different logs, and they're found to be lying. So I don't trust anybody with my encrypted data. It depends on what you feel comfortable with, but I will not put anything on the cloud that I consider sensitive. I would rather keep it in triplicate in different areas that I feel safe with, because once it's up there, let's just say that there is a bug that is found, or there's something that they are now able to go in and undo the encryption. Let's just say that something like that happens. If you keep it in your possession, you don't have to worry about it. But if it's somewhere else, you may have to worry about it. I don't recommend keeping anything in the cloud, but that's just my own personal taste. And I would never keep my 24 words, anything, you know, in any type of network environment. My 24/12 words are digitized, and they are in a I'm not going to tell you exactly what they are, but they are electronic, and I do it in a certain particular way, and it's it's kind of a pain to do, but I can sleep at night, and I just duplicate and move it to different areas. Thank you, AE. Okay, thank you, Redeem. Hi, George. Let's see. Oh, okay, this person says it was a generalized announcement. So I'm going to generalize this and say, it looks like Binance is letting all us US folk, well, I'm not on Binance anymore, but to go on and get your coins off. Maybe they know something that we don't. And so, if you have coins stuck on Binance, try to get it off. And this person, maybe you can send me a screenshot of that, and I will post it under this video. So if anybody else is curious and has coins there, that we can let them know. Okay, we have one last question, and it was perfect timing. It's 12:30 right now. Hi, George. I think I didn't send previously. Sorry if it's a duplicate. Do you believe it's safe enough to save ledger keys in a Word or Excel? Okay. Yeah, no. The only place I will ever keep my 12, 24, 18 words, mnemonic phrase, anything, is an encrypted, actually double or triple. It depends on what you consider and how you have it set up, with different passwords. And only on my person. I have a hard time getting anything out to the internet universe, because we don't know if there are bugs, if there are whatever. we're relying on someone else to keep us safe. And on something like that, if they want to steal my social security number, more power to them. It would be a pain, but I'm not going to lose my my fortune. But if they get my 12 words, I'm a goner and there's nothing I can do. So I do not recommend doing anything. Let me back up. You should never type your 24 words. You should never digitize them unless you know exactly the environment. When I digitize my words, and it's in the class, it's a new computer. It's truly a crypto computer. It's a new account. It's a new memory stick. It's a camera that is not connected to anything and doesn't have any Wi-Fi. It's a very secure environment. And then when you take a picture of something like that, you have to make sure that it goes away, and you can't just delete something and expect it to be gone. There's like a huge process. And let's just say, you had some malware that was on your computer and everything that you typed was sent off somewhere. Then you could potentially lose those 12 words. So I'd be very, very careful on those 12 words. And if you don't know what you're doing, basically make duplicate copies and put them in or send them to people that can keep them safe. You don't have to put at the top, these are my crypto 12 words. You can hide them in plain sight, and there's ways to do that also in the class. And I'm not promoting my class to do anything but say this has been thought through, and you might want to think about a different way. And it's a lot easier to spend a little bit of money than to lose a lot when you don't do things correctly. Like I was working with someone a while ago, and I said, well, do you have your words backed up? And she said, oh yeah, I took a picture of them and they're on my phone. I said, okay, well, call me next week because you need to start again, and we're not even going to go down the road of putting anything on your ledger. You can never do that because you don't know where it's going to fall into whatever hands, and not just now, but it could be 6 months from now. And you got to remember, when you put something online, you have to rely that they know what they're doing and they don't have any security breaches. So, don't want to scare anybody, but that's kind of the way that it is. Okay, everybody, it is 12:30. Thank you for joining me. It's a lovely Saturday here, wherever I am, and I hope everybody has a great rest of the weekend. Thanks a lot.